grassroots tournaments, sometimes those Pokemon become really, really strong because, for example, I have played a lot of Glalie recently, and that is a pretty cool Pokemon that also only has the Ice typing.
It does roll out now, though.
Yeah, exactly. How does it roll up? And is it just face forward?
Yeah, I think so, and then bump over the spiky ears. Let's take a look at losers round 2. The other one we have here, Borja versus Wolfpack. And a reminder that the winner of this match also wins at least a 4th place medal, perhaps even better later on in the tournament. And on Borja's side, that Diggersby. Diggersby has been such an interesting Pokemon. It is one of the ground type Pokemon that can tackle Feraligatr pretty well. Yeah. We don't see Feraligatr on Wolfpack's side though. We see the Swampert, and Swampert has been a menace as well. I don't think it will be super good into Borja's team because Lapras, Feraligatr and Jumpluff all do quite well into Swampert.
What are the other Pokemon that Wolfpack could bring, though? There is the Primeape on his side, if I'm not completely mistaken. That is, of course, a Pokemon that is rather interesting versus Diggersby, because I don't think you ever want to be in the situation of Diggersby there, but if you call a Rage Fist bait,
that's tremendous.
It's really, really strong, because then your Fire Punches threaten a lot of damage, your Quick Attacks do more, and in general you sometimes, because Primeape players tend to farm over to 10 Karate Chops so that they can unleash 2 close combats at the same time to not take a lot of damage from being debuffed after 5 Karate Chops and throwing the first close combat. And then you can threaten with knockouts as well. So it's a very interesting matchup. I wouldn't count Diggersby out of it, but the other Pokemon, Shadow Jumpluff and Clodsire, and also the Malamar.
Malamar is a Pokemon we haven't seen as much lately, and that's pretty understandable since Tinkaton is pretty meta now. Wolfpack has one, and let's see if he brings it, because we're gonna head straight into game number 1 here. Borja on the left, Wolfpack on the right. We have the Malamar into the Unova Stunfisk.
Oh, and that's
not afraid of the Tinkaton.
Yeah, that should be a very neutral matchup right here. Both Pokemon pace incredibly quickly, if I'm not mistaken. The Stunfisk should outpace at some point, because you take 5 Thunder Shocks to the first charge attack and 4 to the next one.
I personally think that Malamar has a slight edge here just because Psywave and Foul Play is more efficient. But indeed, as you say, Stunfisk pace is a little bit faster. So if you can get this Malamar down to a range where 2 charge attack will knock out, at some point perhaps it can win. But again, the damage from this Malamar is just a little bit heavier. As you can see here, this Muppet won't knock out just yet, and I think with some Cyrus, a Foul Play will. But if Stunfisk starts to use shields, it will likely take this matchup because you can just Thundershock down.
Yeah, but the thing is that you are super fine to soft lose matchups, but if you get to actually another charge, like, oh, we're throwing a superpower here, which I kind of like, because then your opponent's farm down is going to get mitigated.
And Stunfisk is being knocked out here, trying to swap into Lapras immediately. In comes the Primeape. This is not exactly what you want, Lapras. Borja shaking his head a little bit there visibly, but Cyrus at least is super effective. Primeape being fragile means that you are not exactly helpless here as Lapras. But this is a Rage Fist only, this is not a close combat.
Yeah, and I think now it's kind of fine for Lapras as well. You're
this
still
one does have close combat, by the way.
This time it is. But now we're throwing a Sparkling Aria. Nice counting from Borja here. Wolfpack puts up a shield because he kind of has to. And I think that we got, with an Ice type, shield advantage versus a Fighting type. What do you think about that?
Borja still has 2 shields in play. You want to keep those for the Feraligatr, but if you let this go, Lapras almost goes down. You can take one more Karate Chop, will take it out. And then the Karate Chop, I believe, is like triple boosted now. This is gonna chunk on the Feraligatr.
Yeah, and that's a big problem, because even though you do have shield advantage, your Feraligatr will take a lot of damage and then enter the Lapras matchup. And
this is shield advantage?
Not, yeah, okay.
It's gone.
That is not even a Shadow Feraligatr, so the damage of the Hydro Cannons on the Lapras, yikes, that is not a lot.
I think Wolfpack is feeling pretty good about this. This is not a crunch for Alligator. It's also not even Shadow, so this is just not going to hurt Lapras as much. No Shadows on the stage here. This is full bulk of full bulk. I think this is like 18% maybe? Yeah, not a lot.
Yep, that might be very much around 18%. Very good word time. But the thing is that we're very close to a charge attack on the Malamar. Spy Waves are double resisted, actually triple resisted on the Malamar, so doing basically no damage. We might be able to reach his superpower. So if Borja can threaten a shield here at some point, this might actually still be winnable.
Borja did throw a superpower before swapping out, so I think he needs some size, but you make a good point. Triple resisted. They will do absolutely nothing on Malamar, and I think that Borja's looking to try and catch it, but can he get to the foul play? Yes, he gets to the foul play! This might be crucial, because now you have the Hydro Cannon stored. You will win Charge Tech Purity against his Lapras and win the battle.
Borja with an absolute mastermind move there to swap out the Malamar at very low HP to get to a charge.
Does he have the hydro? He does!
That is going to take out the Lapras. It just so much looked like Wolfpack was winning this game hard with the Lapras, but Feraligatr is just so spammy there, and the Malamar in the back reaching the fall play.
That looked so helpless. Feraligatr with only resisted charge attacks into Lapras, already at like 60% HP, and he still manages to clutch it out. Don't count Feraligatr out, it's here to make a comeback.
Feraligatr is an absolute monster. Shadow Claw was all it needed to become top of the meta once already. Then it got kind of shifted out a little bit of the meta, but now it is so back.
It is so bad.
Incredibly strong, especially with all those clay dolls around. This is making this Pokemon very dangerous to bring. It's a hard save spot, to be honest.
You know what I think?
Tell me.
It's time for the return of Wigglytuff, man.
Oh.
What do you think, Chan? Wigglytuff, yay or nay?
Let's look at the matchup and let's see where Wigglytuff would have some applications. I think that versus the jump buff, it's difficult. If you land an Icy Wind, good. Versus Primeape, okay, yeah, you win this one.
Right?
If Tinkaton replaces Azumarill, very hard loss for...
Yeah, that's not a great match for Wiggly,
and
unfortunately.
I mean, Azumarill wasn't great to begin with, but this would be way worse. Swampert has Sludge.
Yep.
I don't think you're doing too great versus Lapras.
Well, at least against a Shadow Swampert, you can just use 2 Protect Shield like a real Wigglytuff user. My friend Tip Thunder would definitely do that. And then Lapras, yeah, it just has a lot of bulk. Oh, look at it.
What do you mean with Trip Thunder would definitely do that? How did you
He's
get
always bringing Wigglytuff to our locals, man, because he knows I bring cool Pokemon there.
You won a special championship with a Wigglytuff, and then you got second place at Worlds with a Wigglytuff, which is cool, by the way.
No recollection of this.
No
all Giratina. But let's head back into this match here. It's 1-0 for Borja right now. Wolfpack has to make a comeback. He's gone past many tough opponents, including Paulasha, so he is in form, but he needs to make a comeback here. Borja is locked in right now. Wolfpack still thinking a little bit and going to lock in as well for game number 2 here. Borja is one of a medal. Let's see if he can do it or if Wolfpack's going to make a return here. We have the Malamar into the Lapras. This is a great lead for Borja.
And this spells disaster for Wolfpack. We have been questioning Malamar a little bit, but it is so strong. It's performing so well at the moment for Borja. Oh, wow.
He has all the answers here, Leo. Clodsire is so strong into Shadow Jump Bluff. It's not exactly a Talonflame, but you can hang on to 2 acrobatics. The Fairy Wind are resisted, and a Stone Edge with the Poison Sting will do so much damage.
And in the backline, we also have Diggersby for the Unnovan Stunfisk. Today, RPS is spelled Borja MN.
This is looking very tough. Wolfpack is shielding up here, and I like that play. He needs to cook something up, maybe preserve this jump bluff and his energy. Can you pull a shield here from Borja? Borja still doesn't need to shield. Clodsire is so bulky.
Yeah, but the thing is, even if Borja loses Switch here versus Wolfpack, there is still some problems, because you only lose this matchup basically by Wolfpack investing 2 shields here, right? And he does. But then, if you get your Unnovan Stunfisk aligned to Malamar, that's also not great if you're 2 shields down, no?
You know, do you really lose here? Because you cannot Fairy Wind down to Clodsire. I think if Borja wants, he puts up 1 protection and still wins. But no! He lets Switch Advantage go. Perhaps this opens up the door for Wolfpack.
Yeah, but you just bring in Diggersby here, you threaten a... Oh, you can't threaten a shield, you just threaten a knockout at some point with the Fire Punches, and then you have Malamar with 2 shields, and that is so strong if you have another Pokemon in the back. If he switches out Diggersby at some point to clear those superpower debuffs, that's huge for Borja.
In comes the 3rd acrobatics of this game. It chunks on the Diggersby. Wolfpack swapping out after he gained Switch Advantage. He wants to keep this jump love around, which is an interesting play. Now you have Lapras. Lapras doesn't have a great matchup here because of triple resisted Psywave, but at least the Sparkling Area adds up. We see a first Protect Shoot here from Borja. That Borja's almost at 2 superpower here, and the first one probably won't knock out, but maybe with some Psywave might, and Charge Attack Fury, a perfect counting from Borja.
Yep, the question is, does this knock out? Yes, it's super effective, but Lapras is super bulky right here. Superpower does not take out the Lapras. The Sparkling Area connects, and if you don't shield the first one, then you're taking a sizable chunk, but now you're debuffed, so you have to shield again.
There's still Diggersby with a lot of energy. There's a full Stunfisk, but Stunfisk doesn't want to have to do anything with that Diggersby. I think Diggersby's not even in Mudbone range, but first we have to get +2 foul play from this Malamar. This is looking really tough for Wolfpack, but perhaps he can rely on that jump bluff.
We have been debuffed so far. Goes into the Diggersby immediately. The jump bluff is so low on energy, basically dry. It is Shadow boosted Fire Punch because the jump bluff is Shadow. So this might as well take out the jump bluff. It doesn't even.
Barely does it, hangs on here, but gets quick attack down, not being able to get to another charge attack. And Stunfisk, it is so flat here that the ground is going to shake it up, cook this pancake, and then that's gonna look very tough for Wolfpack.
Yep, there is another charge to extort the attack debuff as well. Diggersby is just flexing here. Wolfpack farms up to a lot of energy, doesn't throw the charge attack, and the Diggersby is going to scorch this Stunfisk out of the arena.
Borja wins his first medal as well. Just like Marcus Shiny, we have our two losers semi-finalists here. What a great performance with that Malamar, not fearing the ticketon from Wolfpack, and Wolfpack didn't bring it. That was a great call from Borja, but what a run by Wolfpack as well, getting past so many great players, making it all the way to tied 5th here. Only one off another medal.
It's gonna be very interesting to see how these other trainers that are still in competition adapt to Borja's playstyle, because I have seen so many Malamar leads by him in this very tournament, and this is for me like the Paulasha phenomenon that we have seen when she won the Stockholm, I think. It was she just kept leading Shadow Magnezone, and each one of her opponents just said, not against me. This time she's not gonna lead Magnezone, and she does it again. Doing it. And this time Malamar was led again against Wolfpack, and you thought, it's not gonna lead Malamar again, I'll bring in my Lapras.
It's kind of a trap. This is what I had at the World Championships in 2023 myself when I played against Elche, because previously he played against Bring That, and then he counters me. Any of that at all. And in this case, it was kind of the opposite. Borja plays exactly similar.
Feraligatr show. It will for the Feraligatr. Like, it should counter. Yeah.
But as soon as out, that's your Stunfisk aligned to
the... Just I mean, my opponent can...
Did you win about relevant as we see Drapion just again and some...
I still need to have... Yeah, of course, you casually knocked out.
Abuse it in a
double resisted to poison with Swallowed.
Two-shield scenario. If you add top meta, because I cannot think,
but Swallowed is the right shot.
With a...
First of all, congratulations.
Right now.
Absolutely true. Not only do we have the Clodsire, we have the Malamar on the team of Borja. First of all, congratulations on your first medal. I think that is something to be very proud of. For those who maybe aren't as familiar with you because you're not playing as many tournaments, tell us a little about yourself.
Para los que no te conozcan, porque no seas familiar para ellos, cuéntales un poco sobre ti.
Pues empecé a jugar en 2016 y el juego se ha convertido en parte de mi vida.
Borja started playing in 2016 and the game has become a part of his life.
Soy un jugador de Granada, que es una ciudad muy cercana a Sevilla, y he viajado mucho por el mundo jugando porque me gusta viajar y me gusta jugar.
Okay, he's from Granada, which is a city that's close to Seville, and he has been traveling around the world because he loves traveling and he loves playing.
¿Qué más puedo decir de mí? También soy un gran bailarín. So.
He's also a great dancer.
Oh, well, maybe we'll have a chance to see this. I was joking around with our former champion, Dancing Rob, that if he won, he had to do a dance across the stage. He didn't do it at Worlds, but maybe if you win, you can do a dance for us during the grand ceremony.
Hay una broma con el campeón del primer mundial, Dancing Rob,
sí,
que se decía que podía hacer un baile cuando ganase, que si ganas tú, que sí que puedes ser el primero en hacer un baile en el stage.
Si gano no me importaría hacer un baile, pero necesito unos zapatos diferentes porque soy bailarín de claqué.
Okay, if he wins, he doesn't mind about dancing on the stage, but he would need different trousers because he's tap dance.
Tap dance is fantastic. Okay, that is something very interesting. I love to find out new facts about the Pokemon trainers. You've been playing so well with a team that I've been calling a combination of old meta and new meta. So bringing back that Clodsire and the Shadow Feraligatr, but also combining it with Pokemon like the Skull Bash Lapras. Like, walk us through your ideas when you were building your team of 6.
Vale, utilizas un equipo que combina un poco el meta antiguo con el meta nuevo, como puede ser Shadow Feraligatr, ¿vale? Malamar y el meta nuevo como puede ser Celapras con el Skull Bash. ¿Qué te llevó a construir ese equipo? ¿Cuál fue tu proceso?
Para mí es muy importante que el Apra pueda ganar a Azumarill y pueda ganar a Diwon. Eso es lo que me ha hecho decantarme por ese Pokémon antes de otro. Diwon lo jugué en el anterior torneo en Estocolmo y fallaba en que no era capaz de responder bien a la Apra. Entonces por eso decidí usar la Apra.
Okay, so he wanted a Pokemon that was able to beat both Azumarill and Dewgong. So that's why Lapras, he was also playing Dewgong in Stockholm. And he realized Dewgong was lacking something to beat Lapras. And that's what made him decide.
Luego, Malamar es especial, pero no puedo desvelar por qué es tan especial.
Malamar is special for Borja, but he cannot tell why.
Oh, never ever or just right now?
Si gano, digo por qué.
Okay, if he wins, he will reveal why.
Okay, my goodness, a lot is riding on if Borja wins. I think he's gaining a lot of excitement in the crowd for him to become a champion. Last question for now, because I know that you still have some more games to play. I know that you want some time to prep. This is the first meta that Tinkaton has been available. Was it scary for you at all to kind of prepare around, or do you think that this Pokemon is something that you can deal with quite well with your team and with your playstyle?
Sí. Este es el primer torneo en el que Tinkaton está disponible. Entonces, ¿crees que es un Pokémon con el que tu equipo puede lidiar bien o crees que puede dar problemas?
Creo que tengo buena respuesta. Feraligatr, Clodsire, DJ. Son tres muy buenas respuestas. Y creo que es un Poké que es muy bueno, pero creo que hace el meta más RPS.
Okay, Borja thinks he has good answers for the Tinkaton, such as Sulfur, Alligator, Clodsire, and he thinks it's a really good Pokemon, but this Pokemon kind of makes the meta more RPS.
Yeah, there's some of those matches you definitely have to play around. Well, maybe we'll see some more of that play in your next upcoming matches. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for joining us here on the couch, letting us get to know you a little bit better. We're going to go back to the matches very, very soon, and maybe we'll see someone tap dancing his way to victory.
You know what doesn't surprise me at all? That Borja is a great dancer.